Hey, this is Casey McBride with McBride Somos. Just wanted to share a little insight I got this morning when I was walking, and a memory of my past came up. And if any of you are watching this and are still facing the fears of like launching your program or any fear that you're facing, this story might resonate with you and help you get off the ledge. So when I was around 6 or 7 years old, my grandparents used to have this place at Lake Norman, this house, and it had like this beach area, and it was a place we went every weekend to just get away and just get away from everything. But for me, it was like going to the beach every day. So they had a beach area, and then they had this place I loved, which was a long pier. And on this long pier, you walk down it, and there's this ramp that we walk down to get on this other pier. There's a floating pier that has like this picnic table on it. And every morning and every evening, used to go out there and fish. And what my grandfather called was bait fish. It was like brim and bluegill and stuff. My grandfather used to bait this hole in the mornings and evenings when we weren't there. So when we did go there, all these hundreds of like brim were just waiting at the end of the pier. And there was this big old brush pile at the end of it. So in the mornings when the water was really calm because there's no boats out there, you could actually see all this brush pile and see all these fish just waiting, just eager to like eat the bait that was waiting, or the food that was out there. I would go out there in the mornings with my fishing rod and hook, and as soon as I would ball up the bait and put the hook on it, as soon as I dropped the hook in the water, bam, I kept catching fish after fish after fish. But there was this one fish that I had fear of because I was only 6 or 7 at the time, and I didn't know what this fish was. All I know is this fish was like a giant compared to the other fish, and it was a carp. So I gave this fish a nickname, the monster, because to me, in my mind, at that time, that was a monster, because I'd never seen a fish that big in my life. Every time I seen that fish, I would pull my hook out of the water. And as soon as I did that, I would watch this thing go by, my heart's just racing, and just the anticipation of what could happen if I did leave that hook in the water, like the fear of either the fish ripping the rod out of my hand, or either I'm going in the water with them because I'm refusing to give up my rod. But all these fears kept coming in of why I always took my hook out of the water when I seen this humongous fish come out. I would tell my grandfather and dad that like, I'm gonna catch that fish one day. And they looked at me and like just laughed and chuckled. And I'm like, what are you laughing at? And they're like, well, you're never gonna catch it if you don't put your hook in the water. All you can do is keep watching it pass by, but you're never gonna catch it if you don't put the hook in the water. This was my birthday weekend, and we were celebrating July 4th. So I got up as usual early in the morning to go out there before all the boats were there, and that's the time when the fish were just waiting at the end of the pier. So my dad, he was back on the shoreline just sitting and drinking his coffee and watching me off from a distance. And I was out at the pier doing my bread and just catching fish after fish after fish, and then I was about close to running out of bread. So I'll never forget this moment of this, like I was almost out of bread, and there was this crust of the bread left. So I took the crust and just put my hook through it, and I just put it out there. And it was already, the water was starting to get a little murky from the boats passing by. I'll never forget watching this big fish just slowly swimming up in slow motion, and its mouth just chomping. And for a split second, I wanted to jerk my rod out, and I'm like, no, I said I was gonna catch this thing. And I just left it in the water. As soon as the fish just grabbed my hook, and it just took off, took a beeline into the depths of the lake. As soon as that fish took that hook, all you could hear was zzz, and I'm like rearing back, like hooking the fish, and I'm like yelling for my dad, Dad, come on, help me. And he comes running down to the pier, and he's like got this big old smile on his face, and he's just so lit up, and he's like, what is it? And I'm like, I caught the monster. I got the monster on the line. And I mean, I'm reeling as hard as I can. My little muscles, my arms are just getting so tense and burning because I'm reeling as hard as I can. And I look up at my dad, and I'm like, Dad, please take it. And he's like, no, son, you said you're going to catch this. You got this. You got it. You left the hook in there. You got it. And I'm reeling. As soon as I got the fish close enough to where we could pick him up with the net, and we finally got him in onto the pier, and it was like this relief of like, whoa, I just caught this big old monster. I said I was gonna catch it, and I was just so excited about it. And my hands were just shaking because of the adrenaline and the muscles of the tension of just trying to reel this big fish in. And I finally got him. And here's a picture of him when I was about 6 or 7 years old. And I don't know if you can see that very well, but I'll put a picture somewhere in the comments or somewhere where people can actually see it. So that was the story that came to mind when I was walking today. Is like, Casey, you're never going to catch anything. You're never going to get a client if you don't put your stuff out there for people to see. You're never going to catch anybody. You're just getting all these little bitty fish, but you're wanting to impact people more at a larger or bigger level than what you're doing right now. You're wanting to take your message into the world, into social media. So quit playing small and leave your hook in to catch those bigger opportunities. I hope this story can resonate with you, to where it can help you actually put your information, which is like the hook, into the water to where you can catch these groups of people, or whatever it is that you're doing is overcome your fear and leave that hook in the water to where you can get your program launched and start helping people and impacting the world.